Hello and welcome to my YouTube. Oh my gosh, I never know where to look on this thing. Okay, I'm Tiffany Fox. In case you've never been on my YouTube before, this is my very first YouTube live, and sometimes crazy techie things happen because I'm kind of not that tech savvy. But I'm an art educator. I should probably tell you that. And I write curriculum for middle and high school art teachers. So drawing, painting, AP Studio Art, classroom management, all of those things. And I just really felt like I wanted to start doing some YouTube lives. So today we are going to be using colored pencil. We are going to be using the 24 set Crayola colored pencils. If you are on my email list at mrstfoxresources.com, you should have received the colored pencil task card and the worksheet that I'm going to be using today during the YouTube live. If you have that and you would like to draw with me, please by all means draw with me. I will be doing a little bit of narrating and just letting you know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But for the most part, I'm just going to be drawing. And I found some cool background music, and maybe we could just relax. Maybe you've had a hard day. Maybe you just want to do a little bit of drawing and see how it's done. But a lot of classrooms are on a budget. Not everybody can afford the expensive pencils. So that's why I thought I would do some tutorials using Crayola. So I'm using the 24 set, and my pencils are actually on my desk. This is shelf liner from the Dollar Tree. $1.25. Evidently, the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree. So everything's $1.25 now. And I guess that's inflation. But these shelf liners are perfect if you cut a piece. I cut a piece about 12 by 12. I put it right next to me. I lay my pencils on it so those pencils don't go rolling off and hitting the floor. That's the worst sound in the world if you are an art educator, is to hear the colored pencils hit the floor. So that's what I'm using. And I'm going to switch my camera to my dot camera, and we're going to start drawing. I tried to get the light as perfect as possible on the drawing on my dot cam, but y'all know sometimes the white balance is a problem. So my hope is I will just get better at this as time goes on. So thanks for joining me, and let's draw. This is the techie part I was telling you about. I have to switch my camera. I also have to turn off the touch up my appearance thing, which everybody knows is the greatest feature of all time. Okay, let's try to get this focused. Here we go. All right. I'm going to turn the music up. I found this cool background music. It's very soothing. Extremely soothing. And I'm going to start drawing. And this is an image of some very colorful corn. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I have to make a colored pencil task card out of this. This is from a set of 24 task cards. The link is in the video description if you're interested. And there are 10 worksheets like this with different frames. So it's really cool once the kids draw their image, once they draw their little masterpiece here, you cut it out and you have an instant mini gallery display. All right, let's get going. I'm using my light blue, and I'm going to go into all my dark values, and I'm going to lay them out. So anywhere where I have a mid-tone to dark, I'm not going to do it in the yellows. I'm only going to do it in the pinks and the purples. But this is just a great way to get those foundation values on the paper. And here's the trick with Crayola, guys. Crayola works best if your paper has a tiny little bit of tooth to it. So if your paper has no tooth, if you're printing worksheets on computer paper, the colored pencil will just slide around and you won't be able to blend it like you need to. So make sure you cut that drawing paper. This is 80-pound weight Blick sulfite drawing paper. Make sure you cut that drawing paper to 8.5 by 11. Feed it into your copier, your color printer. It will not jam. And print your worksheets that way. Because this pencil has a little more wax content, little higher wax content, I should say, it needs a little more tooth in the paper to grab that pigment. And you can do beautiful things with Crayola. Don't ever think that this medium is not capable of gorgeous, gorgeous drawings, because it is. I think it gets a bad rap. So like I said, the ones that are yellow, I'm going to leave those guys alone. So yellow, yellow, yellow. Oh, look, I colored in that one already. Nerves, YouTube Live nerves. So I do not use black in any of my lessons. In all of my art curriculum, students learn to build their values with cool colors. Underneath the local color, we always start with a light cool blue or a cool violet, light violet. There isn't a really light violet in the Crayola 24, so that's why I use the sky blue. If you're using Prismacolors, you'll have a Parma violet or a lilac. That's really nice. Really, really nice violet to start out your dark values. So it's almost like a value study with the violet, or in this case, the light blue. And on my YouTube channel, right above this video that you're watching, if you can see the homepage, my website link, my freshly redone website by Kristen Johnson Creative, is there's a lot of student work on that site. In case you're like, who is this chick? And what has she ever done in the classroom? That's just a really good place to start, just to see that this method works. Because exactly what I'm doing right now is what I teach in my colored pencil curriculum. Hopefully y'all will be able to see this better soon. As right now, it's hard to see. I'm just going to put this down here in this little mottled flecked area also, this sky blue. The ticket is light layers, light layers. I have a free webinar on my YouTube about scaffolding colored pencil lessons and how you scaffold so the kids get the most out of the medium and have the most success. And I was telling the people in the webinar that when kids come to you for the very first time in Art 1 or in foundations or even in middle school, they've really probably only used colored pencil to color in that social studies map. And that's why they tend to be heavy-handed at the beginning, because that's the only way they've ever used the medium. So we just need to retrain them to soften up the grip, to soften up the layers, because colored pencil is a group effort. Lots of colors working together. And you need to be light because it's made of wax. The binder is wax. And if you get too many layers too quickly, you can't layer anymore. So you sort of cut yourself short on the ability to layer if you get too heavy too fast. And you'll see when I start laying down subsequent layers how pretty and how beautiful colors work together. All right, let's hit something else here. I'm just going to stay with my cool colors. I'm going to go into my really, really dark areas, keeping those pencils super sharp. My favorite electric sharpener is an AFMAT, AFMAT. You can download my free supply list on my Teachers Pay Teachers free drawing supply list. The link. All the links are affiliate links too. Just for a heads up. But the link to the pencil sharpener is in that drawing supply list. And that link to my shop is also up at the top of my YouTube page. I think it says mrstfoxresources.com, and then it says like three more. My Instagram link, my Pinterest link, and my um, Teachers Pay Teachers. Trying to think about where I'm going with this purple here. And this color is violet. I'm going to put this in the very darkest areas, even in this dark orange kernel. So I'm even on the second layer, still pressing very lightly. If you are interested in the curriculum, all of the curriculum has video tutorials narrated just like this one, and they are centered for the kids. So if you have students who are absent when you are teaching a concept, the concept of colored pencil, and they need a tutorial, or if colored pencil may not be your strong suit, and you would like somebody to explain it to the kids, you just upload those videos, stress-free. I always tell people, don't try to reinvent the wheel. The science teacher down the hall did not write the textbook. It's perfectly okay for you to source materials for your students, be it my resources or somebody else's. It takes hours to create tutorials and resources, and it's hours that you don't have, especially if you are somebody who has 5 or 6 or 7 preps and a family at home. Give yourself some time off from creating resources that somebody has already created and that work. These resources really do work. When you go on my website, you'll see it. That's the whole reason I actually started creating resources. Is a lot of teachers contacted me and were like, okay, tell me what sorcery is going on in your classroom, because this work is phenomenal and I need the secret. And I am all about helping people succeed, and I enjoy creating the resources. So it was a win-win. All right, you're starting to see a few kernels pop up here. Oh, that was funny. That was like a popcorn joke that I didn't even mean. So I'm just laying these out, shapes and values. I'm working around the highlights instead of going over them and putting white on top. That just gives you like a milky effect. I'm gonna lay this foundation with this. What is this? This is magenta on this guy right here, just so I can. I'm starting to get a little cross-eyed with my kernels. You can see that it's a process. This is why I keep all of the exercises and even the final project on the small side, especially for your art ones, your drawing ones, or if you're somebody who's just starting out. Colored pencil, you need to not be working on an 18 by 24 sheet of paper because it's too intimidating. You know, this is challenging enough. You can't really erase this at all without making a mess. So we have a lot of deliberate layering and blending we're doing. So if you were working on some gigantic piece of paper, you would be defeated very quickly. You would get what I call the hurry up and finish disease. I say that will kill your artwork, the hurry up and finish disease. You can hear the train. Going, there's a little bit of orange in here. I have a lot of layering I want to do in these, but I need to get some kind of foundation mapped out. I'm thinking this might take several YouTube lives to get finished. I didn't even really know the concept of a YouTube live. Somebody said, hey, why don't you go live doing your drawing? And I was like, okay. And then I nearly had a technical meltdown trying to figure out how to do it. Thank you for my online business manager, Christy Johnson, who saved me from meltdown, helping me find StreamYard. I do think I need a better dot cam now. I have an entire line of Crayola colored pencil lessons, resources in the shop. You go to Mrs. T. Fox Resources on Teachers Pay Teachers. Over on the left-hand side of my homepage, you will see a section called Custom Categories. And within that custom category section, you will see a section called Colored Pencil on a Budget. And the lessons for Crayola are in that section. The Prismacolor lessons are in the just plain old colored pencil section. And you should catch that webinar that's also on my YouTube here. And that explains my philosophy on how I teach colored pencil. A little bit of orange at the bottom of this guy. It's really just shapes and values and edges. I'm barely touching this pencil. I'm not choked up down here. I'm back about halfway on the pencil, and I am just using a very tiny circular pencil stroke to lay the pencil down. We don't need to do any harsh hatching or cross hatching. That makes for very difficult blending. You want to give yourself as much opportunity to layer and blend as possible. And I probably should mention that I also have workshops with classroom resources. If you would like to take an online workshop that's pre-recorded and see me explain this in detail with all the steps and all of the rationale, there is on my website is a link to the workshops. And there are several with colored pencil glass, colored pencil skin tones, colored pencil 101. So if colored pencil is something that you are interested in, those workshops have tons of classroom resources for you to take right back and use in your classroom. And they also come with a certificate of completion or some PD hours. And there's nothing like relevant PD when you're an art teacher. We don't get very much of it. We get a bunch of nonsense, but not a lot of relevant PD. We're starting to get something that looks like colorful corn. No, this like orange right in the middle, but really dark red all everywhere else. So I can lay this orange right on top of my cool colors. It'll be nice and rich and pretty. So I'm gonna go back in and put some reds in there too. I'm gonna go to this blue, but it's really dark blue. See this red over top of these dark purples and blues? Look how pretty that is. Hopefully you can see that. And I can just put the red by itself out here in the center because there's nothing underneath it. I need to leave this little area here where the light hit the corn. The light hit it in all these areas. We're going to leave that. Let's not draw over that. Let's work around it in the negative space. So the more colors we use, like this is a yellow orange and with this red, the more dimensional the surface appears. So you don't want to just use one color in an area, you want to build your color. Make sure your color is dimensional and not flat. This green is going to help these really, really dark areas right here get dark but rich. Rich and dimensional dark. So I need these values to get darker. I'm going to need to layer some cool darks back in to these and these just to really sink that value down, because remember, we're not using black colored pencil. We're building our darks. This might even be a cool little lesson to cut this into fours and have each student just do one corner and do a little collaborative piece, and then they would only have to do this. Maybe for your beginners, and then for your advanced kids, have them do the whole thing. And now I'm starting to press a little bit harder as I get to my desired value. The paper's only going to take so much, so you want to make sure you have all your layers on before you do those final layers that are, you want them more waxy at the end. I see a little bit of this dark red in some spots, so I'm going to float some of it up here, just in a couple areas. Really just going back with violet, with blue, with green, and with mahogany to get this nice chromatic black that's rich and just really beautifully singing with color, as opposed to coming in here with a black, which would really, you just deaden and desaturate the hues. Colored pencil is a lot like watercolor. It's translucent. You can see all the colors bouncing around. And remember, this is Crayola. So you don't have to have expensive pencils to get a beautiful result. Just for grins and giggles, I'm going to throw a little yellow in here just to kind of warm that area up. All right, beautiful people. Time for me to go make dinner. Oh gosh, y'all, I'm going to have to get better at this. So thanks for joining me. Remember, cool colors are the foundation of dark values, light circular pressure, and all the resources you need for Prismacolor and Crayola in my shop at Teachers Pay Teachers. Go to mrstfoxresources.com and get on my email list, and I will be coming back to finish this corn soon. So if you're on my email list, you will get the notification of when I will be live. If not, I hope you subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching the very first Mrs. T. Fox Resources YouTube Live. Have a great evening.